All right, here we go. Check this out. This one's going to be a pretty cool one. We've been pushing the hell out of these radios because I really like them. These Galaxy 86Vs. Here's a brandy new one right out of the box. Okay. Some slide on. So this is what they look like when we just took it out of the box. Now, when you take this out of the box, it's on 40 channels for 10 meters. That's got to be converted. And even when you do that basic conversion, all it gives you is CB here, 40 down, and 40 up. Well, that was not acceptable. So on mine, as you can see, I put mine at the bottom because this is the way where my radio's mounted. But mine goes from 2561 all the way to 2920. Now, he's not going to have quite as many banks as mine. Okay. He's going to have a few less banks because we can only put a 6-position switch in. But what we're doing that's a lot different to this radio is a couple things. First thing is, if any of you guys that buy these new Galaxies like this, you're going to find out the front of them is really hard to convert in any way, shape, or form because of the way they've assembled the front panel now. What I'm going to do for this guy, these guys are using these in like a cubby hole type situation where they're strapping them down, no brackets. Speakers covered up anyway, so they're using an external speaker, which is a good thing because this radio is also getting this guy. No, not with this heatsink. This is our test jig, but this is our 2-pill Super Duty module that we use in base stations and in mobiles. Now, what you need to keep in mind, we build these here from scratch, and what you need to keep in mind is that this is actually, if you want to compare it to something, it's like a 350 high drive. However, when we put it in these radios, they're not doing 350 watts. We're letting them loaf. In this radio, that board dead keys around 30 and swings about 210 watts. And he also has the variable power. He'll be able to control his variable power. So, in addition to the board, we're going to take this mic jack. We're going to take it out. And my 8-position switch that you see here, we're going to give him a 6-position switch here. And then we're going to keep this intact. However, it's going to be removed. The switch for the channel bank is going to be here. He's going to slide it up in his cubby hole where this is all he sees. However, coming out of the back, there's going to be an extension cable like this. You come out of the radio to the front, and will have his mic jack on it. Because all of this stuff for this radio in his truck has to come out the front. So, he is getting 6 banks of extra channels. His microphone moves from where it is to a extension feed so that we can convert this to 6 banks of 40 channels. Now at that point, he'll have this switch will just be wherever you're at and no sounds. When he puts it on D, whatever channel he's on will have a Roger beep, and then this is a plus 10 KZ switch when we're done. So, going to be pretty cool. Like on mine, this is Roger beep. Flip it over, 10 KZs. Okay, get the in-between channels. Other than that, everything on here is going to work just like a normal Galaxy. Looking at it, at a glance, you wouldn't know that it's going to have everything in it that it has in it. It's a kind of a shoehorn deal. We're going to really pull some weird science off on this one, but it's going to be pretty cool. So, there it is. This is going to, I think, Bill in Pennsylvania. And he's waiting to see this video. So here it is out the box. We're going to do the fast motion video thing. He's going to watch me tear stuff apart and have some fun. Meantime, you guys be safe. Wash your damn hands. 7 threes. Okay, we're back on our 86V. You've been watching the Speedy videos. What we've done so far is reconfigured the band board, removed the mic jack. So now his channel bank is where his mic jack used to be. His lowest channel, and because of the fact that we can't fit an 8 position we can't fit an 8 position switch in this enclosure. It's not going to make it. I even have to trim this a little bit to make it fit. However, his lowest channel ends up being 2606, and his highest channel will end up being 2832, which is, no, wrong. It'll be 2875. It's going to be his highest channel. Now, in between all this, we are going to finish the kit that I've designed for this radio. When I'm done, this middle switch that's ABC, that's CD&E, that used to be, once you did the normal mere mortal conversion, gives you 40 up and 40 down instead of 6 banks of 40 channels. Now, when this switch is all the way to the left, nothing will happen. When he puts the switch in the middle, it's going to give him his Roger beat. When he puts the switch all the way over, it's going to give him his 10KZ without a Roger beat for tuning or whatever on other stuff. So that's how that switch is going to work. That's going to be the only switch on the front that's altered besides the fact that we've moved the mic jack. Now, why did we take the mic jack out and why are we moving it on a brand new radio? These guys are driving trucks now that have cubby holes that are pretty much designed to fit the radio you're using only, and they really prefer the mic jacks come out the front. Well, there were a couple of ways I could do this. One was to put a 4-pin mic jack on the side and run a thing out, which is honestly what I'm thinking about doing. But the problem with that is he may have a problem sliding this into the cubby hole if I have a mic jack housing right here sticking out. But that's an idea I'm going to... Either way, his mic jack's going to come out of the radio somewhere, fold over, and come back to the front, so that when he slides this in his cubby hole, he's going to have his mic jack receptacle. But we're going to make a bracket for this where once this is in the cubby hole, this can get mounted and screwed down where it can't be pulled off, strain relief, so that he can plug his microphone right into it, not have to worry about breaking the cord that we're going to put on it. So we've got him covered there. After all that is done, he gets this. Ta-da! The 409 Super Duty 2-pill. Going to make this radio key anywhere from 10 to 30 watts and swing 200 watts of PEP right out of its booty hole. Going to be a nice radio. So, here we go. It's getting down, it's getting done, it's getting on. This one was a little bit trickier than I anticipated. Guys, if you get these 86s and you go to modifying them, be prepared to do some strategic relocation. And when I say strategic, I mean smart. You don't just put shit next to each other and expect it to work. You got to make sure nothing's touching, nothing's grounding, nothing's oscillating off of each other. These new radios are digitally controlled. That doesn't mean that they're not susceptible to parasitic interference. Okay? So, where we're at now is, and even now I'm looking at putting that big board in, we're probably going to take the channel board and do like this with it. But let's take a look at the consequences of what might happen if we do that. And actually, I've already checked and there are none. But this guy is going to come around here, right? And he's going to be real close to the channel selector switch. But I need to make room for that 2-pill board. What I'd like to do is see that 2-pill board mounted on the bottom cover and lay right in here. However, if I have this all the way over here, well, now that's taking up some of my space. Plus, I'm putting Wild RF right next to the board that's controlling my reference for the radio. Not a good idea. So, after looking at the way the wires lay and after looking at the way the grounds sit, this guy's going to come all the way around over here. That just opened up an enormous amount of space. These wires can lay down, okay? And then what I will do is I will make a shield. We take the material that we use on the bench, we cover it with a foil tape on each side, and then we cover it with duct tape to isolate it. And I will cut out a pattern, just like this, to lay in here. So once the amplifier comes in on the bottom cover, this is all shielded. So that's the way we're going to do that. Yes, it's true. This is going to be the baddest 86V on the face of the planet thus far. Promise you. Get your wallets out and play with this one, boys. You're going to get your asses whooped. Here we go. It's getting done. We're going to move on now. We're going to finish the channel kit. And we are waiting for some more space. I ordered some. When we build these, I build them with, and I build a prototype. And this one is a new version of this board. We built this board for these new dual final MOSFET radios. Now, when I build these boards for the first time, I've got a lot of old stock. And as you can see, old stock physically tends to be a little bit larger. Okay, so I've called RF Parts. All of these larger components I've ordered in the right value in a much smaller package, so that when I dip this in here, none of this is going to touch none of this. So that's the way that's going to go. This new board we came up with is not like anything else. The transformers aren't wound the same. It's just, if you try to copy this one, you better get your little God meter out and measure every value, because if you don't, one value off, this one will blow the fuck up quickly. So, however, I do warranty them for a lifetime because I know how to build them. I designed it. So here we go. This is 186V. Now, his buddy is getting a 99V2 with the same board. We will not be doing as much modification on his as that radio has everything under the sun right in it already. So, this gentleman bought this radio on my advice. He was going to get the 99. He changed his mind. Was going to get the 99. Come to find out, excuse me, nobody's got 99s right now. They're hung up on a container ship somewhere in Chinkland. So, I don't know what's going on there, but 86s are readily available. 94s are readily available, which is another nice radio. However, it's all of these, and I'll reiterate, anytime you guys buy one of these, quote, 10-meter Galaxy radios, the first thing you do, and we've already done it, is change this regulator back here in the back. Oh, you can't see it through all the wires. Right there. See that guy on the wall? That big, heavy guy? This radio comes with an 8-amp regulator. We put a 25-amp in. The problem is that when Galaxy switched from the 1969 2312 platform and started using these MOSFETs, great idea for a radio. MOSFETs make wonderful swing from low key, clearly. So I believe in a radio, they're great. However, don't bring me no MOSFET amplifiers, guys. Straight up amplifiers like them RM Italy shit. I don't want to see them. We don't repair them. MOSFETs do not make real power. If you want real power, you need to get into some RF transistors. 2290s, MRF 454s, 2879s, whatever. But do not plan on making real power with MOSFETs. You can make swing to manipulate real power, and that's my belief on it. I believe they're great in a radio. I would not have one in my main amp, but that's my lecture on that. Now, when you guys play with this 86 or any 3-final radio, or this is actually called a dual final radio because this one's actually the driver. These two are the finals. When you buy one of these radios from Galaxy and it's got a little amp on it already, you'll notice when you look inside, this transistor is missing. And they do that on purpose because they want to dumb down the radio to avoid blowing up them cheap-ass MOSFETs they're sticking in the bottom calling your amplifier. Okay? I can't tell you how many of these radios have come in with MOSFETs and left with pills because that's just the right thing to do. But if you put a single pill in this radio, say you want to put a single 2879 in it, you must remove one of these transistors, the first one in line. Because if you don't, that 45, 48 watts of PEP that this mother humper makes is going to rape a 2290, and it ain't going to do well on a 2879 for long. So the right thing to do is, and I know it sounds crazy, take power away from the radio to make it make more power. Well, yes, because we're going to put a bigger board in here to accommodate the loss of the single transistor. It's a safety precaution. If you're going to run this radio with the board, and here, if you're doing a single board, when we do single boards, I usually hook them up where I ask you, are you going to drive something with this? If you guys are driving low drive amps, I manipulate the board to keep it within a 20 watt RMS swing. If you guys are running it balls out, we either go 2 pills and let it ride, or that single pill I can get up to 60 watts of RMS. So it's once again, it all depends on the situation. You guys need to stop being afraid to tell me what linears you're running, because I'm getting radios coming back burnt up because somebody didn't tell me they had a low drive amp. That's going to stop, gentlemen. Okay, and ladies, I've got no problem taking care of your stuff if a problem happens that we didn't foresee. However, I should be able to foresee what you're driving this into. An antenna, a box, a freaking cat's ass. I don't care. I want to know what this radio is getting driven into when you guys are buying them for me or getting them converted. Or your warranty will be compromised. Okay? We're starting to get a little persnickety around here, and there's a reason. I've been back for 2 years. I did this shit for 30 years. I was gone for 20, and I come back, and everything's changed. Well, that's fine. I'm pretty well caught up. We are not working on garbage anymore, guys. And once again, I'll reiterate, we do not do individual repairs. We do restorations. If you have a Cobra 29, if you have a Cobra 2000 with the lower sidebands out, don't send it to me to get the lower sidebands fixed. You can send it to me and we will electronically go through the whole radio and fix anything that may be wrong. This way, you don't have to send it back to me in a month saying that the lights went out and I got to pay the shipping. That's stopping too. All you guys with your little tricks, I got you. You're done. Okay? And also, just like from the very beginning, we give lifetime warranties on a lot of shit on our bass amps that we build, on our Super Duty conversions like this one. You know, he's gonna have a lifetime warranty on that board and anything I do to this radio. Okay, I can't do that if you guys aren't being honest with me about what you're driving these things into. I got a radio over here. The guy don't want to tell me what he's driving. After blowing the radio up twice, now he's going to tell me what he's driving, or I'm not going to fix the freaking radio again. Simple. So, now let me stop ranting and raving. The 86V is a great radio. Space constraints are your problem. There is not a lot of real estate in this radio to do what you really want to do. So you've got to get down and do crazy stuff like where the mic jack was. I have to get my Dremel out and trim this off. But I had to make a two-sided spacer to accommodate being able to put our 6-position switch in a half-inch hole. That's called engineering, boys and girls. When you go to play with these radios, when you do something that's something else, when you modify something on any radio, when you're done, it should look like the factory put it in there. If it don't, you're sloppy, something's going to come loose, and it's going to get to me eventually, and I'm going to call you a bad technician. Simple. So, tie everything down. Make sure your solders are flowed. Make sure anything you add to the radio is not going to interfere and or jump and jive and cause hate and discontent with anything else in the unit that you are modifying. So that's where we're at with that. There's my lecture for the morning. Here's our 86 with 6 banks of channels right on the front. Now mine, I put mine in the bottom. And yes, I have one. I believe in these radios. I love this little radio. Mine goes all the way up to like 2,900 and all the way down like 2,500. I made mine really crazy. But this gentleman don't need all that. He just needs to be able to talk to his ham licensed buddy on some 10-meter channels, which we gave him. All the way up. He can go all the way up. 2875. That's past the legit 10-meter slot. So, there we are. This is an 86V that if Galaxy saw it when I'm done, they'd probably go and make a new radio and call it a 409. Because this is going to be a bad bitch when it's done. All right, guys. Thanks. Good morning. 7-3. God bless, and we'll see you. All right, folks, here we go. This is our, excuse me for a second, this is our DX86 conversion that we're doing for a gentleman in Pennsylvania. And we have done a lot of work to this radio. First of all, we've taken care of all the AM power regulator upgrades and that mess. And it's been converted. But you'll notice, like on this one, let's look at a picture on the box. See, we got a box handy here. Okay. Boop. That's what your 86V normally looks like. My jack is in the front, and it only has 40 channels on the 10-meter band. Okay. So what happens is the normal conversion is you go and you plug the plug in on the band board, you pull off a solder that's bridged, and it gives you, this becomes regular 40 up and 40 down. That's all you get. But they did give you the variable power and all that, so it really, it's easy to live with. Okay, you didn't get everything, but you got your sidebands and whatnot. But we said no. The mic jack has been moved to the side, because in this truck he can accommodate that. And now, this is his band switch on the front. He can go one bank down. His second bank is regular channels. And then he has 1, 2, 3, 4 banks of uppers that will take him all the way to 2920. This radio has continuous coverage from 2651 to 2920. Continuous coverage. Plus, now, let's see this back on regular CB stuff. And I had to make the knob for this. That was fun. But we got it. Alright, so there's our regular CB band again. And perfect. That works perfect. Now, this switch no longer controls any band switch activity. When you are to the left, it's regular radio. Nothing. No enhancements, no nothing. When you move this to the middle, or D, you get your Roger beep, which you don't have an option for when you first buy the radio. It's in there, but you got to hook it up. And then another thing that's not there that you got to add is watch the 20 go to 21. Plus 10 KZ switch. Comes in handy for if you're wanting to do stuff like you're on 19. The frequency for channel 19 is actually 2718500. But when you want to go in between 19 and 20 now, boom, there's 2719, because in a regular radio, 19 is 18520, 20 is 205, 195 gets skipped. It's called we used to call it an A channel. I don't know what you guys call them now. Plus 10 KZ, obviously, is what they call it now to get to the A channels. So no any channels that get skipped, you go to the channel before it, you hit that switch, boom, you've got all your channels. And when we were done, it came out looking quite nice, I believe. Bam. Now, we did move the band board from here to here. And the reason we did that was, we have to accommodate, and this is still in the test jig, it's not going like this, but this is his board that's going to go in there. This is a 30 watt key, 200 watt swing board, PEP, okay. We are going to scale, these are our bonk up components, our components we don't care if we blow up. We have regular, more modern, smaller components coming to replace all these and scale this down where it's going to fit inside this radio better. However, the point is, we needed the room for this board right here. It's going to come off, and it's going to go in, it's going to be upside down in here, okay? So we needed to gain some real estate around here, and we needed to do it in a spot where everything can be pushed down as far as possible. Now, I don't like the idea that I have to put it so close to the finals. However, we are going to make a bomb blanket. I call it a bomb blanket. It's a shield. We take this material and we put metal tape on both sides. First we cut it out to the sides in here, put metal tape on both sides, and then we wrap that in regular duct tape or another kind of non-conductive tape, and then we lay that whole thing in here, and then our whole radio is shielded from this guy. kind of like the Jimmy hat that Galaxy puts on their little bullshit MOSFET amps. So, and that's my problem with Galaxy right now. They're every radio that I'm selling, I'm having to do a little extra work too because they didn't do everything they needed to do. Once again, let's overview that. When you buy this radio, first thing you do, change the AM power regulator and the driver in front of it. And this cap needs to go, I forget what the value is, but that one's been changed. And we've actually got some now that fit. I forget what the value was. It's 3,300. But now the ones we used to use, we had to push this diode up. And now we got some smaller ones. Nice, neat. Go in there, no problem. So those are done. We are not messing with these filters anymore. But I found a different way to play with the high-low cut problem, and I am not going to tell you guys what it is because that's my design, and I am not done with it yet. And until I get it on my website, get it protected, you guys don't get to see it. So, but he will have it in this radio. But there, we're done. The radio in and of itself is complete. Modulation's at 95% because past that on this radio, you will distort like a dog. All of the wires are tied down nice and neat. Band switch, you can't even hardly. Now, what we had to do, this was kind of a funky deal. The mic jack was right there where you see the band switch now. Okay, here's right next to the silver box. There's the band switch right there, that blue thing, with all the wires coming off of it. This mic jack used to be coming through the front, right there. And if you look down, you can see the landings that used to solder to this board. So what we did was we with our trusty new desoldering machine, we desoldered the board, pulled it off nice and neat, didn't burn nothing up, which is freaking beautiful. We moved the mic jack to the side because you can use it that way. And we put his channel banks out of the mic jack. However, we had an issue with that. Most of these controls, the good 6 position controls, I usually get them out of base stations. Those are the best ones to use. I've tried buying a couple from DigiKey. I've tried buying a couple from a couple other places. They never are the same thing that I could pull out of these base stations. So this one came out of a, I want to say, I forget what it is. Anyway, it came out of a really nice base. It's a 6 position, heavy duty switch like you saw in the back. But because of the length of the shaft, okay, I can't cut the shaft off because then there's no way to lock it. I can't make splines on the end of these shafts. So what we did was we took a double control from another Cobra Galaxy. Is the back one. And it is just glued to the bottom of this Uniden control, which makes us a nice skirt to go all the way down in there to hide the fact that that control sticks out way too freaking far. At a glance, though, it don't look bad. So that's the way we're going to do it. I think it came out nice and neat. Like I said, now he can grab his bands right on the front of the radio. Bam, 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 bam. Where he wants to go, he can go where he wants to go. So he's got one bank of lowers, which I didn't count on him getting. We thought he was going to end up with like 40 channels on up. Here's the deal. Now, the other gentleman, his buddy, bought a 99 V2, which you're going to see the video on in the next few days. These guys, I don't know if they drive together, if they drive for the same company, or what the deal is, but they both wanted nice shit. They're tired of playing around. The one gentleman has a new, I want to say Lincoln. Okay, Lincoln President something. And, of course, he's not happy with it. They're Chinese, I'm sorry to say it, they're Chinese garbage. I don't want them. You know what, they're not bad. I have a friend in Texas who loves his. That radio is one of those things that's like a matter of taste. Like a DEC. Some people love them, some people hate them. The HR 2510. Most people hated them, some people loved them. Never mind all that. This radio, when it comes, is very basic, which is why I started playing with it. It was a nice, solid sideband radio. Now, before I realized that I could manipulate the band switch to get all these channels, I was happy with accepting that I could just have 40 up and 40 down. But then these guys called, and the one guy is a ham operator, the gentleman who's getting the V2, and he said, "Can you get me a 99 V2?" Well, we got him one, and we're putting the 2-pill board in that one as well. However, for him, I'm going to do a couple other things. I don't know which control I'm going to use. In these new Galaxies, there's nowhere to just pop a hole and put something extra in. There's not enough knobs. Every knob is a crucially functional option. So there's really nothing here we want to lose. The only thing I can figure out, and I'm going to talk to that gentleman when I call him, is what I want to do is put a noise filter, a variable noise filter. Basically, it's a tone control, but it acts as a noise filter, a high cut. Okay, this has a dimmer. Nobody uses the dimmer, at least I don't really mind it all the time. I'm going to ask him if it's okay if I change his dimmer to that variable high cut filter. And we're going to see how that works out for him if he wants to do that. But other than that, this 86, I promise you, is the most heavily modified 86 on the face of the planet right now. I bet on it. When I put that 2-pill in there, this is going to be a one-of-a-kind unit. I hope the gentleman that's getting it enjoys it as much as I've enjoyed building it for him. This has been a nice radio to play with. The other cool thing is I own an 86. This is my personal one. But I put my band switch on the bottom because of the way I mount my radio. That's going to move now that I pulled this old trick off. But mine will go all the way down. Pull them to 25. Forget. Mine goes all the way down to 25, 61, and all the way up to 2920 continuous coverage. So I got 2 more lower bands, and this one was able to accommodate with the kind of a switch that we could put in here. He's got 6 positions, I've got 8. An 8 position would not fit in here, which is the reason we didn't use that. So, and to order one, these guys don't have time for me to order special parts, so we're going to get this thing done, get it out of here. So there it is. Now, the other thing you need to inspect if you buy any new Galaxy are these boards. And, you guys should know good-looking solders from bad solders. This board was flowed exceptionally well, so we didn't have to mess with it. Here's the thing, guys. If you hold this thing up to the light, okay, whatever you do like this, now you'll see some daylight through some holes, but you'll notice there's no components in them. But when you see daylight through the edge of components, okay, that's bad. That means that component needs to be soldered up. This one's in real good shape. Can't hardly find no daylight. There's 2 I'm going to touch up that I saw, but that's yet to be done. So, this is what you can do with one of Galaxy's cheapest radios. At this point, minus an Echo board, voice changer, and stupidity, this thing is every bit as hot as a 99V. I can put every bit of the channels I want into it if I'd like to. I get my plus 10, I get my Roger beep. Got my, it's a very versatile platform. Now, I'll tell you the other thing we love these radios for. We build the DACs from scratch. In the DAC 10 models, which is a sideband, when we gut them and rebuild them from scratch, this is the chassis we put in there. Because this chassis is so easy to tap anything into. And it's so solid. So when we build you a DAC 10, it has one of these in there. And then usually 1 or 2 tubes for a final. I like this radio. I endorse this radio. I sold a lot of these radios. Just sold one to a guy in Canada a couple weeks ago. They're nice. They're solid. They don't drift. They are, like every other Galaxy, a hair staticky. But the one thing Galaxy did do that I like about this particular unit is that when you're sitting here listening and talking, you may hear a lot. You may hear what should be, what would appear to be a high static level, right? But it never really does read a high static level. You'll always see 1 to 3. You know what I'm saying? Like 1 to 3. But when people talk, you'll see their normal signal movements. Now, while they're seeing, 7, 8 S units of static, you're only seeing 2. But when people key up, you get their actual reading. I don't know how they did that, but it's very cool. Back to the part of this is a digitally oscillated radio. They make noise. Anytime you digitally reference something, you have the noise of the digital reference oscillator. So that's why everybody hears the more static in these than the old ones. They say, well, they're not as smooth. Well, no, it's not quite as smooth, but it does hear probably 20% farther than the 88 did. And I was around when the 88 came out. I was a Galaxy dealer trained by Galaxy when that radio came out. I'm going to tell you something. I love the old 88s, but it can't hold a candle to this new 86V or the 99B2. None of these new ones with the counters on them, and even the ones that don't have a counter on them, they're the same boards. But all these new 10-meter Galaxies, guys, get past Galaxy's iniquities. In other words, check the technical service bulletins on any radio you buy, if you're going to buy it for yourself, or even if you're going to be selling a lot of them to your customers. You don't sell them junk. I'm not saying if you don't modify the radio, you're selling them junk, but what I'm saying is if you don't upgrade a couple of items, you're going to see the radio again. Let's put it that way. And if you're reputable, you'll fix it for free. AM power regulator must be changed. And the driver transistor in front of it, those are under here, must be changed. The caps around them, 2 caps around there, must be changed. Right off the bat. You take this radio out of the box, you put it on the bench before you even convert it to 11 meters. You put a 25 amp regulator there and be done with it. Okay, so there it is. I'm done with my rant. The next video you see will be of this with the Super Duty module in the bottom of it. He will be minus a speaker. He knows that. We have to take the speaker out to do that. And when we're done, if I've done my math correctly, this thing should dead key all the way down about 10 to 15 watts and swing 200, no problem. PEP, and turn all the way up to a 20 watt dead key and swing 200 PEP all the time. So sometimes it's worth putting an earring on a pig. A lot of guys think that, in the ham arena, think, well, that's kind of a dog. It doesn't have all the features. Here, make it what you want. This radio is so versatile, so damn versatile. I love it. So, yeah, 409 Radio, Chicago, Illinois says, if you ain't got a radio, you're looking for another one, you're a sideband guy. 86V, if you don't want to blow a ton of money and you don't want all the voice changer bullshit that you'll never use, this is your radio. So, and if not, we'll be happy to fix whatever you buy. 7.3s, guys. On to the next episode. We're going to get the 2-pill put in here. We'll do a speedy video of that. We're going to take a few pictures and get this thing at least where we can post some progress for the customer. So you guys be safe, wear a mask, wash your damn hands. 7.3s. Do your fucking job! Do it! Do your fucking job!